You keep asking for it, so here we go. 8 ways to connect with your avoidant partner. Number 1, you have to remember that patience is a virtue. If you're not in alignment with your own thoughts, feelings, and emotions, you're going to find it difficult to navigate your avoidant partner. Nowhere is it written that you absolutely have to make this relationship work. And this is where people often say, why do I have to do all the heavy lifting? The answer is, you don't. Nowhere is it written that you absolutely have to make this relationship work. If you find that this goes beyond your emotional capacity or desire for a relationship, it's okay to pull the cord and get away. To honor your boundaries and standards for a relationship with you and say, you know what, this just isn't for me. But if you've been doing the work for a while and you have the self-regulation skills to go along with that, then there's no reason that you can't just wait for the avoidant to come to you when they're ready. But obviously we're going to come up with a time limit on how much time they can actually spend away from the relationship. From a few hours to 24 hours, depending on how long you've actually been together. And what you're doing here is you're actually cultivating trust with the avoidant, which is critical to their inner world. Number 2 is to move slowly and build intimacy. Especially in the beginning of relationships, it takes the avoidant a while to warm up to other people. But if you're reliable, you're consistent, and you keep your promises, as well as the commitments that you make to the avoidant, then you're well on your way to establishing deep connection with them. Number 3, compliment the avoidant. Kind of. We all think, hey, who doesn't love a good compliment? For the record, a lot of us don't like that. It's very hard for us to receive a compliment from somebody. They may squirm, reject, or deflect and use self-deprecating humor to get out of an uncomfortable situation. Instead, compliment the behavior that you like. I want you to know that I really like when you open the car door for me. It makes me feel safe in your presence. And yes, that's a compliment on doing, which is often the avoidance love language. I'm doing all these things for you. Don't you see that I love you? Number 4 is shared activities. All too often, it can feel like you and the avoidant are speaking different languages. But a great way to co-regulate and to spend some time together is to go on a walk with the dog or to do a DIY project side by side with one another. When we're face to face, it can feel confrontational. But when we're side by side and we're doing something together, it can feel more like a bonding experience. Number 5, you have to remember, they don't like their emotions or yours. The anxious attacher has a tendency to give and give to the avoidant, and they don't know what to do with that. So they're holding all this stuff and they end up dropping it because it was never modeled to them on how to navigate that. And then you're disappointed, you show displeasure, and they pull away. So instead of pouring on the emotional appeals, try logic and reasoning. This is a way to connect with them where they are. And remember, if this all sounds like it's too much, then maybe it is for you. And that's okay. I go back to, it's okay to honor your goals, values, and standards for a relationship with you. Number 6 is to stick to your own boundaries. You have to remember that we teach people how to treat us by what we tolerate. So when you let the avoidant know that they're bumping up against your boundary and you hold that boundary, you have now taught them how to treat you. You have to remember that in general, if you don't respect your own boundaries, then other people aren't going to either. And yes, this is more nuanced. Number 7, it had to end anyways. Not really, but this is how the avoidant feels anytime there's any type of displeasure, an argument, or conflict. You have to reassure them that 2 things can be true at the same time. I love you, and I am mad at you, but I'm not leaving you. But we do need to resolve this conflict or issue together. And believe me, that little bit of reassurance goes a long way. Number 8 is to meet them where they are. You may find that if you've been doing the inner healing work that you might be a little more emotionally advanced than your avoidant partner. And no, that doesn't mean better than, it just means different. The greatest gift you can give to the avoidant is your absence. But I just want to cuddle. And believe me when I say this, they do too. They just need a break every once in a while where they can feel more like themselves, to reconnect with themselves and self-regulate. And when you allow for this reasonable time apart, you're cultivating trust within that relationship. They will feel less defective and like it's okay for them to be themselves. And this is a great opportunity for the anxious attacher to also hone their self-regulation skills. You can re-engage with old hobbies, meet up with friends you haven't seen for a while, or just lay on the floor, meditate, and do some breath work. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to sign up for the 21-day self-love challenge. It's now self-paced and with over 30 hours of content.